Hey everyone, and welcome back to Miyuki Crochet. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this slouchy beanie. Shout out to Yarnspirations for hooking me up with a box full of yarn to play with. For today's hat project, we will be using Patton's Classic Wool Roving in this beautiful Forest Plum. It is 100% wool, a 6mm hook, scissors, a yarn needle, thread and a needle, and a measuring tape. We're going to start off by doing a slip knot. So we go like this. Wrap it around your finger, pull through. For more details on how to do a slip knot, please refer to my other videos, How to Crochet. And we take crochet hook and we're going to chain 32. Alright, so it should look something like this, like a beautiful braid. For our first row, we will be doing half double crochet. So basically when we get to the end of the line, we're just going to circle back and go back. Pretty much the whole project will be up and down, up and down. Alright, now that we have done our foundation chain, we will be working half double crochet in our first row. So for a half double crochet, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook in the first stitch closest to your hook, pull through. Now you have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over again and you're going to pull through all 3. So again, a little slower. You're going to yarn over, insert your hook in the next stitch, pull it through. Now you have 3, yarn over, bam, now you have 1. Right, so we're going to do that till the end of the row. So meet me back when you're finished. For the first row, your project will look something like this, and what we're trying to do today is a half double crochet in the back loop only. And what that's going to create is a beautiful rib detail that you don't typically see with crochet. Alright, so when we get to the end of the row, and this is throughout the project, so just remember that, you're going to chain 1 and then turn your project around. Alright, so now as you can see, you have these, if you look carefully, you can kind of see these little shapes starting to form. They almost look like little braids. So what we want to do is in the back, you see how we have this little stitch here, and then in the back there's another one? We want to grab the one in the back and we're going to half double crochet. So what's going to happen is that the front part of the half double crochet is going to pop out, which does this really cool ribbing. So again, I'll show you a little slower. So like this, you see there's the top, you see this is like where you normally would do your half double crochet right here. We're only going to grab the back loop, not the first one. So the back loop. So like pretend you were doing it normally, you would just go like that. But then you'd be losing the braid part. So again, just slower. You're going to half double crochet in the back loop only. Alright, half double crochet in the back loop. And you're going to do that until the end of your row. So after row 2, your project will look something like this. And if you can see now, you have the little ribbing here, which is going to follow throughout the project. So this would be the front and the back. Alright, so what we're going to do now, as we always do at the end of our row, is we're going to chain 1, turn our project around, and we're going to continue doing the same thing. So essentially you want to do the back loop only, and it kind of starts to flip, so you're going to have to just be mindful of that like you technically would say this would be the back loop here, but it's actually here. So it's not super obvious. Right. Yeah, it's not super obvious, but it becomes more and more obvious as you continue. So chain 1, and that you're still going to go to the first stitch closest to your hook. Alright? and you're going to half double crochet in that stitch there. And as you can see, it's doing the little braid things. Alright, so we're going to keep doing that till the end of the row. And this is a stitch that you're going to be using throughout the project. So once you kind of get the hang of it and you can kind of see where you have to insert your hook, it's pretty easy to continue. And this type of stitch can be used for so many things, and I think it just adds such a nice little detail and gives a little bit of height to your stitches, which I really like. So it's something that I use in a lot of my projects, like my scarves and my cowls. Creates nice texture, and I'm all about that texture. And you're going to continue to the end of your row. So when you get to the end of the row, again, you're going to do the chain 1, which I've already done. You will keep doing this stitch, and it's just up and down, and the project's going to get longer like that. Project requires about 1.5 balls of yarn, so what I'm going to show you now is how to attach the yarn. There are several ways to do this. This is the way I like to do it, and after I like to go over with a thread and a needle to clean it up. So I've done my chain 1 on the last row. I'm going to, I don't like attaching yarn at the bottom, I find it a little messy, so I'm just going to crochet a little bit more, just so I'm not on the end. Alright, what you're going to do now, so you have your tail here. We're going to call it a tail because it's the tail end or whatnot. So, I'm going to take my new working yarn and I'm just going to put them together like this. And hold it with your fingers. I'm going to do what I normally do, yarn over, insert my hook, pull through, yarn over, pulling both the working yarn and the tail end yarn together. And then I'm just going to put it, tuck it in like this. And later what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie a knot, and I'm also going to sew over with a thread and a needle. This way I find it's like pretty clean. You don't really notice it when you sew it in afterwards. And you're just going to continue to the end of the row. So I will meet you back in a couple of minutes. And we are almost done our hat, which is amazing. Alright, so check back in a few minutes. After we have done all of our rows, our project looks like this. And you can tell here it kind of scrunches the top and the bottom. That's super normal. So as you can see, all the detailing along the project, which is super pretty, and it adds nice thickness and a texture that I love. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start working on the finishing touches, and I always think that those little added things that you do really finish a project and make them look really nice and stand out from other projects. So finishing off is always super, super cool. So when we get to the end of the row, just a little side note, this is something that I always do. Where you started at the beginning, so where you started your foundation chain, for some reason it's always, the bottom part is always a lot stiffer, more rigid. So I like to use this as the top of my hat, not the bottom, because if not I find it's too tight. So you can tell when you pull it, it's a little bit less stretchy than the other one. So again, where the foundation chain where you started, that will be the top of our hat. So we work on the detailing at the bottom. So once you get to the end of the row, you're going to chain 1 like you normally do, and now we're just going to finish off with a single crochet along the bottom of your project. And don't worry too much about this part being perfect. Just try to get your hook inside the bottom stitches and try to get it as even as possible, but don't be too worried about it. And you're going to do that until the end of the row. So keep doing that. And this just kind of prevents it from rolling up, and it also creates the final edging, which makes the project more finished and clean. Okay, so it looks like this. And take your hands and stretch it out a little. You see, just kind of prevents it from rolling and gives it a nice finished look. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work on seaming our project up from the top. So you're going to want to leave yourself a long enough tail that you're going to be able to seam to the top and the top of the hat. So, I mean, use maybe about this much. You don't want to overdo it, you don't want to underdo it. It's better to have too much than too little. And then just pull your yarn through, creating a knot. Just pulling it through the center and then pull to tight and cinch it closed. Now we get our trusty yarn needle and we're going to insert our yarn into the little hole. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to fold the piece in half, like so. Alright, and we're just going to insert the yarn needle across. Alright, and we're going to just keep seaming up until we get to the top of the project. So keep doing that. This is a pretty simple concept, is that you just make a long rectangular piece and then you just seam it at in the middle and at the top. I like working hats like this more than any other way because I find it's really easy because you can kind of zone out and relax and just get this piece done and then just close it at the top. And I kind of like projects like that that are simple and fun and easy and enjoyable, because sometimes I just like to disconnect and just make hats and scarves and whatever. Alright, so just keep doing that until you get to the top. And in case you were wondering, you have the foundation chain that you're going along and you're just going into the center stitch here. But don't be too worried about this again. Once you get to the top, it looks like this. And you can barely see the seam throughout the hat. You can kind of see it, but not so much. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to close the top. So what I do is, like, you can kind of see that the yarn is going in a certain direction, so I just like to follow the direction. It doesn't really matter, you could start this way or start that way. It doesn't make a difference. So then I just kind of do this. It's kind of like an accordion, and I just pull my yarn through. So I just kind of fold the yarn into my hand. Tightening it up a little. Turn it around, keep doing that. Okay, so now it looks like this. There's still a bit of a gap inside, so what I do is just tighten it up a little bit. And be careful because this wool's a bit delicate, so if you pull on it, it could snap. Alright. So now I just kind of go zigzag along the top. There you go. And then what I do now, because you just want to kind of make it less bumpy, so just go over anywhere and end off by inserting my needle, pulling it through, and then pulling it through with my hands like this. And voila! And here I just like to take my hands and I like to stretch out the hat, and pull. Go over it after with a thread and needle to weave in all the ends. So what I do is I just kind of take the yarn here, I make a knot, cut it off, take a thread and a needle, and I just kind of go over it. And I do this just to secure it. I find it gives me a little bit of reassurance knowing that I went over any ends that could potentially undo. Generally they don't, but why not prevent a problem from happening? And you can do that for any ends that you had. Sometimes your yarn, you know, it was a knot and you want to undo it, so you have to do it like that. And so technically we are finished after we weaved in all our ends. You can either leave it like this, so it'll be a nice little slouch, or you can make a pom-pom and add it to the top. Thank you so much for watching today's tutorial on how to crochet this slouchy beanie. If you like this video, well, don't forget to subscribe, like, and the fun does not end here. Please follow me on Instagram at Miyuki Crochet to see my daily crochet hustle. As always, keep toasty.